channel, changing lives.
Good evening, our lovely viewers. Welcome once again to tonight's edition of Family Life. Tonight we are here to discuss a very interesting topic that borders on all of us and our family life. Actually talking about the genesis of our family life. The role of our parents when we are choosing partners. That is the topic that we are going to be discussing this evening. My name is Mrs. Constance Boachi Ejapon, and tonight I am sitting in for our usual host, Mrs. Betty Adom, who had to attend some programs for us. So please relax as we enjoy this evening's edition of Family Life. And I'd like to remind all of our lovely viewers that we are on TV. We are also live on our Facebook channel and on our YouTube channel. So please connect with us. Let's interact. As we proceed, I'll be reading some of the comments that you'll be sharing. Call somebody to call somebody and let us have a lovely discussion this evening. With me in the studio as a guest today, we are blessed to have one of our very own pastors, the Executive Secretary for the Meridian Conference, Pastor Isaac Kwabe Donko. Pastor, welcome to Family Life this evening.
Thank you very much, sister.
Welcome. And then also we have joining us on Zoom our senior pastor for the Ghanaian SDA Church in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, in the USA, Pastor Samson K. Chumesi. And the K stands for Kofi. So those who did not know today, I'm revealing the secret. Pastor, can you hear us?
I can hear you very, very clear.
Oh, lovely. Pastor, how are you doing this evening?
God is blessing. It is evening for you, but it is afternoon for us here in Columbus, Ohio.
That is the beauty of nature for the Lord.
Amen.
So, Pastor, this evening, as we have just mentioned to you and our audience, we are here to discuss the role of you, our parents, when we are choosing a life partner. And we would be joined by our audience through the online platforms that we operate on. So, Pastor, both of you are married, starting with Pastor Donko right from the studio. Pastor, when you were choosing your wife, Mrs. Donko, how did all that come about?
Well, thank you once again for the privilege to be here with you and also to share this experience with our lovely viewers. It's a long story, but because it's in studio, I just have to make it snappy. My story, deviate from the convention and what we know to be how to choose a partner. All because I experienced a disappointment that I would say a great disappointment.
Wow. And
because of that disappointment, I told myself, there is no woman on this earth that could, meet my requirement.
That was
for which
big.
reason I closed my mind from, even opening up for another privilege to date. And that's how it happened. And I graduated and I entered into ministry. First year, second year, third year, I was still not considering to make that decision until pressure from all corners, were coming. So I had to take a decision. Initially, I told myself I will marry. If then, I will just look for a white lady to marry. So I was looking around. I have not traveled yet, so I had no
So you wanted a white woman from Ghana.
I knew where I would get a white lady, because black people have disappointed me.
Sorry.
But in the end, I just had to make a decision. In the meantime, meanwhile, at that time, there were a lot of people around that if I wanted to choose from, it would have been very easy for me to do. But because of the disappointment and the pressure, the way it was coming, I told myself, I'm not going to make a decision right now, because my decision is gone. My choice is gone. So I don't know who to really choose. Okay, so I made a decision that, okay, because God knows our future, why don't I subject everything before him and then give him the chance to do something? Because if he had done that in the olden days for many people, I still believe he can do something. And therefore, I gave myself 3 days, from Wednesday to Saturday.
Wednesday to Saturday.
Wednesday to Saturday. That I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink. I'm going to talk to God that if it is his will that I marry, and I'll get somebody that I can love again, like the first one that disappointed me, then he should prove himself potent. So I gave myself 3 days, and I gave God some signs. And one of the major signs, I cannot tell all, was that I want to see from among the many ladies around me and or beyond, that I am marching through the aisles with that person.
You wanted to see that?
I wanted to see that.
In a
either
vision,
in a vision or whichever form.
Okay.
So I started on Wednesday. I was in the central region then. And evening I will go to the church house. That is where I will be till daybreak. I'll be praying right on the pulpit, pray throughout the night, expecting that God will descend whatever way.
And bring
he will
the
just
woman.
give me the results. I was waiting. The whole Wednesday I saw nothing. I continued Thursday. I was there at the podium. I saw nothing. On Friday I was there, and Friday I was waiting on the youth to close from their church activities so I can get there. So I was sitting on my bed. The meeting house was just close to the church house. I was sitting on my bed waiting for the youth to close. Just as I was sitting right now in this chair, that's how I sat in my bed. And then I got tired. I said, let me lay on my back waiting for the youth to close. And just how I laid, that was how it was. And the next thing I heard was the morning devotion song. It was 6 o'clock a.m.
You had slept. So
I slept all over. I couldn't pray that night. I couldn't go to the church house to do as usual. I couldn't do anything. And I didn't see anything. So I told God, well, I am done. So I have not seen anything. So I'm not going to take any decision. I will not choose. So if I disgrace myself, that is your business. So I decided not to do anything about it. The following day on Sunday, I was, blessing someone's marriage. I was not married yet, but I was blessing someone's marriage when I received a call from the community, telephonist, and that I have a call to when I got there, it was my wife who called. And those days it was a radio phone. It was not easy to get a phone call like that. It
was your wife, but you did not have a wife at the time.
I'm saying it was my wife, my current wife, who called at that time through that community phone system. So when I got there, she came. The call came again, and then we started speaking. I asked her, we spoke last Friday. What is it again? And she stood on the phone. She couldn't talk. I said, what is it? And she, gave a breath. I said, what is it that you cannot speak? Tell me what exactly it is. And she said, well, I will have to try. And I said, try, because there's nothing that is too hard. So she just broke the news that on that Friday when I was sleeping deep, she could not sleep the whole night too. When I have discussed nothing with her, no one knew what I was doing. But she couldn't sleep throughout the whole night. Right from 9 o'clock p.m., she started having that vision that I told God to give to me, that she saw me and herself, marching through the house and all that, just exactly how I told God. And she couldn't believe herself. She was not asleep yet. So she, stood, watched the face, thinking something was wrong. And she would come sit down, start reading her Sabbath school. It repeats. And it repeated until 12 midnight. She couldn't help it. She had to go to the classroom. If it is the bedroom that is creating that problem, he went to the classroom, the same thing. And they cut the long story short. When day was breaking, she heard a voice that he should call me and tell me what she has seen. And she told her, how can I say this to somebody that I have not had any, So that's how it happened. And then she broke the news to me. I stood there motionless, didn't know what to do. So in effect, just as I told God, I don't want to make the selection. God did just that. And that was my wife, my current wife.
God
exactly.
Did the
so
selection.
I didn't have the privilege to go and propose and do it. In fact, God just did it. And when it happened, I just told her what exactly I was doing, and that's exactly what the Lord has done.
Thank you for sharing what we missed on the wedding day with us. That was a beautiful toast. Pastor Chubesi, are you on with us?
Oh, I'm 100% with you.
And Pastor, tell us about yours. We missed the toast some years ago. Tell us what we missed at the wedding.
Well,
how did it happen?
I'm enjoying what Pastor just said. And that tells me that no two person has the same story to tell about how they made their choice or made their decision. In a mysterious way, as a way of providing for all of us.
Sure.
Most, because we are pastors, sometimes we are very careful about who comes into our lives as our partner or as our spouse. I've enjoyed Pastor's story. I left Ghana about 34, 35 years ago when I did not, as he said, propose to anybody. But then, before I left the shores of Ghana, I made a commitment that two things. Whenever I finish my studies, I'll be back in Ghana to make a contribution, or Africa. Two, I will not, and please forgive me for saying that, even though Pastor said he needed a white person, I made a commitment that I will not marry anybody other than a Ghanaian. Now, I went to Jamaica, finished my studies in Jamaica for my bachelor's degree, because at that time, Valley View was only offering 2 years at that time. Now, when I was in the middle of my master's degree, that's when I've been praying about it and talking to God and reading about marriage. Then I decided that I was going to devote 2 weeks to prayers and fasting. I know God was not going to come down and tell me this is the woman that you have to marry. But then, that I think was the right thing to do. Now, when I was finishing the 14 days of prayers and fasting, something just came to me about this lady who was in the same church with me in Ghana. So on that Friday, I said, Lord, I'm going to call this lady. If that's the choice, let it be that she is not married. That's not the choice. Let me find her already married. Then I will know that that's not the one, because on that Friday, her name, her picture, and everything forcefully came upon me. Then I made a phone call to my sister. My sister said, you know what? We don't know whether she is married or not. We don't know because we haven't seen her in church for some time. Unbeknown to me, she was also somewhere far from the city of Kumasi. And it also dawned on her that I was looking for her. So she told her sister. The sister said, why don't you go back to the city? Maybe something is about to happen. And so on that Sabbath, my sisters met her when she had just come from where she had gone to. And then I had made an arrangement with my sister. At that time, there wasn't any WhatsApp, no cell phones, and that sort of thing. So I told my sister that this is Friday. Final. Sunday, I will call you. Sunday, I called my sister's house. And my sister broke the news to me that, you know what? He is already married. And there was a dead silence. Then my sister said, hold on. Not knowing that she was not married. Just standing by my sister, and my sister was playing prank on me. My sister handed the phone to her. And the next voice I heard was this woman. And so I talked to her, I greeted her, we exchanged some kind of conversation, and then I had to gather the courage and propose to her. And that was so good. She accepted my proposal, and the rest is what we have now after about 32 years with 3 children.
Congratulations,
So,
Pastor.
Thank you. And to tell you the truth, it has been a wonderful trip, a wonderful period. I believe that just as my dear pastor said, God gave me what I was looking for, and I would never regret, because I wanted to follow all the counsels of Ellen White, and at the same time, what the Bible has for us when making such choices. And I'm glad today I do not have any regrets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm so glad that we have 2 experienced marriage counselors with us today, because we really need to hear the experiences as you have shared, those that you have dealt with, those that you have helped to have successful marriages over the years. We believe that today's conversation is going to be very, very insightful, especially for young people who are contemplating marriages. So going to the topic that we are discussing today, parental role in making the choice for a life partner. Pastor, we are going to look at the roles that you play. Do we even need our families, our parents involved when we are contemplating marriages? And to start with, let me just ask, what is the role of our parents in choosing a life partner?
All right. Our parents have a lot of roles to play as far as choices of our spouses are concerned. The choice of our spouses are concerned.
Okay.
It all begins at the level when we begin to develop our personality, traits. You know that in psychology, parents have a lot to do, as far as, the training of the child is concerned. And therefore, even as we grow, okay, we learn to love, we learn to hate, we learn to desire or to envy, do many things that we will do in our future, relationship from parents. And it presupposes that what you go through during your early stages, okay, in life will have an effect in the choice of your career and then also your marriage. And that is why it is very important parents will take note of what they do with their children, even whilst they are growing. In fact, the way we treat them will really have an effect on their emotional being, social being, and spiritual being as well. And you know that choosing a life partner, you look at all these, angles. And therefore, definitely what you have been made up with will greatly affect your career decision. We say in psychology that every child is, attracted to the parent, the opposite parent, whereby a girl child is mostly attracted to the father, and the he child also attracted to the mother. Okay, there are a lot of implications on that. They will tell you it's vagina envy and many other things. I don't want to go into that stuff, right? But the reality of the matter is that if the childhood affectional relation, okay, to the parent, I mean the child, okay, is to the opposite parent, has been very satisfying. The possibility of you choosing someone who has similar traits or characteristics to that of your parent is very high. So it is, if the relationship between you and the parent is really bad, right? It's also going to affect you, and it will give you it will inform you or give you that view or picture in choosing somebody who is opposite that of your parent because of the relationship, the bad relationship you've had with your parent. You get it? So in effect, what we're saying is that right from childhood, what parent will do will directly have impact. In fact, even this environment you put yourself in and the children will have an effect on their career choice and then also marital choice. Jesus. Because if you are in a first-class community, the possibility of the child being attracted to somebody in that community is very high. So it is, even in school, the choice of school, okay, the parent will give to their children, will also inform their career choice and also their marital choice. So this is from the early stages of every child, of our children. Now, if you are able to manage this well, okay, it means that we have been a very good teachers and models to our children, which is going to give them a positive, how do you call it, marital choice as far as, life is concerned. And therefore, I want to state that we need to be very conscious of what we do and how we behave. In fact, whatever you do is going to have an effect on your girl child or your male child. That is what I want to state on the introductory part of this topic.
Okay, Pastor. Thank you very much. Pastor Chumesi, are you still connected with us?
I am very, very connected, and I'm enjoying Pastor's insight.
Thank you, Pastor. So, Pastor, I am well aware that you have some in-laws, and I'm going to go into how your contribution towards those marriages and how it's been. So, can you please tell us, what role did you play in the selection of your children's spouses, if you had any role to play in?
I'm going to disappoint you a bit. All my 3 children are not married yet. And so I don't have in-laws from my children. So if you can reframe the question, then...
So Pastor, I am aware that my producer has attended some marriage ceremonies for some in-laws connected to you, which you were a part of. And I'm also aware that you have counseled quite a number of people who are close to you with regards to relations. So I'd like to know the role that you play, not just the counseling side, but the role that you have played in some marital selections in the past.
Well, I take my blueprint from Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24 is the longest, or one of the longest chapters in the Bible. As a matter of fact, it has 67 verses. 2, why will God, in his wisdom, devote one whole chapter of 67 verses to the marriage of Abraham's son and the role that Abraham played? I think Genesis 24 offers something that I've always given to those looking for life partners or those who come to me for counseling. Let's take a few things from Genesis 24. Verse 1 says, Abraham was old. That tells us that always going to not the old people, but experienced, aged people is the wisest thing to do, because according to Ellen White, you can learn from their mistakes and you can learn from their experiences. Then the Bible says he was well advanced in age. The Lord had blessed him. Verse 2. So Abraham said to Eliezer, his servant, please put your hand under my thigh, and I'll make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven, the God of earth, that you will not take a wife from my son, from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. You shall go to my country and to my family and take a wife for my son Isaac. I think Abraham has taught us something, that one, parents have a great role to play. They cannot sit unconcerned when it comes to making selections for either their sons or their daughters, or helping their children to make the right choice. Abraham at that time was far from home, just as right now I'm far from home, Ghana. But Abraham knew that because of cultural differences, because of certain things that has an impact on the kind of choices that we make, intertribal marriages, ethnic marriages, and that sort of thing, Abraham calls Eliezer and said, you know what? Go to my homeland, Ghana, get a woman for my son, and promise me that the person that you are going to bring is not a non-believer or non-Jewish. Now, what is Abraham doing? Abraham is playing a role that today maybe our young people may not like it, but that is the best. Or our culture, our contemporary culture, kind of make people think that once I've made my choice, for God so loved the world, and why should I be concerned about my mother, my father telling me what to do, whom to marry, and who I should not marry? I think what Abraham did offer us a good way out. And all those who come to me, and from my own experience, because I've already said that when I was ready to make a choice, I was over 5,000 miles away from Ghana. But then I didn't leave my parents out of the picture. As a matter of fact, after my prayers, after I've talked to this beautiful lady, I even involved my sister, I even involved my mother. I know somebody will say, well, wait, if you involve them that early, they can kill your dreams. But then there is wisdom, there is direction, there is a way of doing it that way. And I got to know that my mother, my father, they were all happy with the choice that I've made. And I got their blessing on that decision. My recommendation to whoever comes to me, and I will give the same recommendation to my children, that when you are ready to marry, lo and behold, remember that parental involvement is a divine blueprint. At the end of the day, that lady that you are bringing home, that young man you are bringing home, is going to be your parents or your mother or your father's daughter-in-law or son-in-law. And somebody who is being grafted into the family, their counsel, The reason why you should not bring that person, or the reason why you should bring that person to be grafted into the family, we should not discard it. I would recommend that we read the entire Genesis chapter 24. It is not a story coming from Mesopotamia with an outdated way of looking for a wife. But I think God, in his own wisdom, intentionally placed Genesis. Why is it that God didn't spend, God spent maybe 2 or 3? Or there is nothing about how Mary met Joseph. Just few verses. Or Paul, or Jeremiah, or Isaiah, or even Moses and others. But then when it comes to the promised child belonging to Abraham, God intentionally gives us word by word, minute by minute details of how Abraham played a great role in the selection of Rebekah for his son Isaac. And I think you agree with me, that if my parents are involved, I may not like what they may tell me initially, or I may not agree with them, but that doesn't make them an entity in this. I think Genesis chapter 24 offers us a bigger picture, and it also offers us a blueprint, a way out, and how we can make our choices when it comes to looking for a wife or a husband. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you very much, Pastor Chumesi and Pastor Donko.
Yep.
So viewers, we are going to be going for a short commercial break. Please stay with us. When we come back, we are going to look at this. At what stage in a relationship should you invite your parents into the conversation? And if your parents say no, how should you handle that rejection? And then also to the parents, if your child insists, this is what I want, how should you also handle that rejection from the side of your child? And then we would look at some more godly tips on how to manage this for a successful marital life. So please stay with us. And the comments and the people joining us on Facebook, I'm going to be reading all of that when we come back from break. So please don't go away. Just invite more people to join us. Auntie Betty, we are also watching with you. Thank you very much for connecting with us. Thank you, and stay with us.
It's here again. United Service to Africa is partnering with Anikant Community Center and Ghana Adventist Health Service to undertake its third medical mission trip to Ghana from 20th to 25th of September 2021. The mission includes surgical procedures like hernia, hemorrhoids, and cataract, general medical care, dental care, eye care, and laparoscopic surgical training. The venues are Valley View University, SDA Hospital, Techiman, Asamang SDA Hospital, Namong SDA Hospital, Ashanti Region, Wadbog Eye Services, Kaswa Central Region, Wadasu SDA Hospital, Ashanti Region, Sunyani SDA Hospital, Bono Region. You can visit any of the centers to get registered for the services already mentioned. Are you an anesthesiologist, general surgeon, internist, family medicine physician, dentist, ophthalmologist, optometrist, a nurse or a pharmacist? You can be one of our prestigious volunteers. You can also support by donating in cash or kind through our Zelle account at treasurer@unsta.org or call us on 951-640-9517 and 024-44-64692. For more information, you can also visit our website at www.unitedservicetoafrica.org. This medical mission is sponsored by United Service to Africa, Anikant Community Center, Loma Linda University Health, Catherine Health Network, Ghana Adventist Health Service, Diwali Ben Trust and Tasadia Foundation. Media partners, NOP TV Ghana and Hope Channel Ghana. Join us as we embark on this historic healing mission and spreading the love of God. United Service to Africa, with Christ to restore hope. Be there.
Welcome back, our lovely viewers. We are really enjoying this evening's conversation on parental role when we are choosing our life partners. With me this evening in the studio is Pastor Donko, the Executive Secretary for Meridian Conference of SDA, and on Zoom connecting with us from the US is Pastor Samson Chumesi, right from Ohio. Pastors, you are welcome again from our break.
Thank you.
So please, before we start, I'd like to read some comments from Facebook, and then we would get started. Okay. Mrs. Betty Adam, thank you very much for connecting with us. Lydia Johnson Odum, great man of God. Pastor Chumesi, that is some fans coming for you. Then
thank you.
From James Wachifojo, from Penkwase, Pastor, thank you very much for Elder. Thank you very much for joining us. You are always connecting with us from Sunyane, and you are really enjoying the conversations that our pastors are sharing. Ruth Brifo from Kumasi Amakom SDA Church, thank you for connecting with us. Asensu Brobe, the program is very, very good, so keep the fire burning. Ruth Kofi is watching us live. Pastor Chumesi, I'm a Japan Francis from Asamai, and I'm happy to hear the comments on this session. God bless you. My regards to Chumesi brothers, my friends. So, Pastor, that is some comments for you. And we have a lot of people connecting. Daniel Nyaku Mensa says he's watching us live. Madame Joyce Asamoah is also watching us from Kumasi. Kumasi Churches, thank you very much for connecting with us. So, Pastor,
right,
we were saying that we're going to talk about rejection. Yeah. Sometimes parents and children don't agree on the selection of spouses. Yeah. So, first to children, if my choice is not acceptable by my, before we go into that, at what stage should parents come into the whole conversation? Yeah,
I began by saying that from tender age, you should be able to coach your child, maintain a good relationship so that your child will be able to really relate very important information to you, even those that are related to relationship. Okay, so if I'm in the relationship, I have met somebody. Right, and I'm coming there now. Okay. So there are three basic things that we need to note. And in these three basic things, the decision is individual. Relationship with God, career choice, marriage. These three things, the individual has the final say. The choice is individual. In as much as the choice is individual, we have what we call affairs in marriage. It is not only an individual affair, it's a family affair, it's a societal affair. That is why an individual will want to enter into a marriage. In the end, the person will pull families together. The person will pull church members from all corners and what have you. Therefore, your decision to, as in choosing a spouse or a partner, has to do or concerns people around you. Therefore, it is not your affair alone. Now, when you have seen someone, in fact, the situation where parent will get someone for the child is what we call arranged marriage, isn't it? Arranged marriage. Arranged marriage, yes. It is still happening this day. There is nothing wrong when parents arrange and the child in question is okay and has no issues with the arrangement. Okay. Right? There is nothing so much wrong with that. But ideally, the person who is going to be in the marriage must be responsible to the decision. Okay. The reality is that when whatever happens in the marriage, your dad will not be there. Your mom will not be there. You are going to face it directly before it will have an indirect effect on the rest of the people I've talked about.
Sure.
Therefore, you have the
That
first or the responsibility to take the decision. Yet, that decision must be taken in consultation with your parent and even with people around you. Call them significant others in counseling, right?
Okay.
So you must take your decision in consultation with people around you, including your parent, as we are dealing with tonight.
Okay.
And therefore, you must seek the consent of your parent. What we see today is that most often, because in Ghana, now we have cross-cultural, habitation and what have you, it is very difficult sometimes to have your child getting someone from the same culture, right?
Or the same hometown,
or whatever
the same
it is.
neighborhood.
Even though most parents want that homogeneity,
Okay.
for which reason they want their children to not to cross culture, just as we advise not to cross religion, which is interfaith. That's how some parents also think that you must not cross culture. But in all these, when you have or you bring your choice before your parents and there is a challenge, you cannot proceed until you are able to settle that, because you must receive the blessings of your parents before you can enjoy your marriage.
Thank you very much for that comment. And I strongly believe that it is a very important factor in
seriously, you can decide to go without the consent of your father, because the laws in the country now will permit you or will give you the support or motivation to go and marry without your parent. But I can assure you that you will never enjoy that marriage.
Sure.
You will never, ever enjoy that marriage. Okay. So whatever it is, you must make sure the consent or your parents' consent is sought before you enter into it. You must agree. In fact, when they are proving difficult because of their own personal interest, that is why we live in a community. That is why we have church and church leaders. Get to somebody that you think you can, relate to, and tell the person your story for them to intervene on your behalf, to make sure and convince your parents why you think that they should consent to your choice. At the end of the day, you are going to face it. You must convince them. If you are unable to convince them, you cannot move forward until you are able to convince them.
Okay.
And that is my advice for people, because you will come across this day in and day out. Don't try it that you want to go without their consent. It will not go away. No matter what it is, you need that parental support. You need the spirit of your father. You need the spirit of your mother, so that you can succeed in your marriage. Thank
you, Pastor. Thank you very much for that advice. Pastor Chumesi.
I'm here.
So if children decide, okay, daddy says no, mommy says no, but I will still go ahead, what advice do you have for parents on the other side?
First of all, why is it that mom and dad are saying no?
Good.
We need to find out.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
why are they saying no?
Because, and Pastor gave us some steps that we have to take. If I have, in sincerity, in the spirit of prayer, in the spirit of counseling, if I've taken these steps, either my parents are going to say no, and I will understand it, or my parents are going to say yes, and I will understand it. Once you took the right steps, either you are going to get a yes answer from your parents, or you are going to get a no answer from your parents. And because you have left the matter to God, you will not rebel. You will not decide to go ahead, whether my mom or my dad agrees or not. Now, first of all, I need to talk to God. Lord, I don't know any woman. You know, most of the time people bring their choices to us when they have already made up their mind. But I would say, as my brother pastor said, talk to God first. Do not take any names to God. It defeats the purpose. Talk to yourself. Am I of the age? Am I ready? Am I going to listen to the voice of God? Am I going to listen to my parents? Am I going to take their advice, bitter and difficult as it is? Am I willing to do that? Now, after you talk to God, you talk to yourself. Now, whether you have parents or not, we live in a world that, because we all belong to a community, Ellen White says, talk to God-fearing parents. And these God-fearing parents, they should be able to tell you what to do. Now, back to your question. You know, Ellen White says that this step taken unwisely is one of the most effective means of ruining the usefulness of young men and women.
Yes.
If I go to my mom or my dad, I must be able to convince them why I'm making that choice. Why is it now? What will come out of it? How it will benefit not only myself, but the entire family. Now, my mother, my father, based on their experience, if they are also very objective, they can tell me why I should not proceed. They must convince me. They must show me the wisdom in telling me why I have to proceed or I shouldn't proceed. I think if my parents are not on board, I will have to put brakes, and I'll have to wait, and I'll have to discuss it with them in the spirit that will help both of us to come to a good conclusion. The reason why I'm saying that is this. My mom, my dad may not have gotten the picture very well and may not be informed about certain things. It is up to me, instead of insistence, it is up to me to tell them why this young man or this woman is the right choice. Now, if my parents are coming from an objective point, not, say, nationalistic or tribalistic or any other thing, and they lay everything on the table for me to see it, I think there is wisdom in the counsel of multitude that I shouldn't proceed without the consent of my parent. The key is in my hand to let my parents know why I'm going for this woman. The key is in my hand to understand why my parents are saying no. The key is in my hand to take the matter to God in prayer and in counseling. And I think God will offer us the right path and help us to make the right decision. Do not forget that God is not going to come from heaven and tell you, hey, SK Chumesi, this is the woman that you have to marry. Why God, in so many ways, have revealed himself, has talked to us through our consciences and through other means, dreams and other things. Work with your parents. Work with your parents. Work with your parents.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yes, do not rebel on them. And when you get your parents to be on board, coming home with that young man, coming home with that young lady will be a delight. Otherwise, throughout, in fact, you may wish that they die so that you are free, because going home may be a Herculean task. Thank you.
Pastor, thank you very much. Just to add something little from my own experience, I remember when my husband went to my father to ask for my hand in marriage. My father said, he wanted to come and do knocking, and after a year, he will come and marry me. Then my father said, in my house, we don't do knocking. If you are ready to enter, enter as a man. And my husband left. Within 1 week, proposed marriage. By the next week, we're already getting married. So sometimes I believe that when you involve your parents and you respect their decisions and their counsel for you, I both agree with you that as young people, we should not fight back so much. We should trust the counsel of our parents.
A quick follow-up to what Pastor said is that sometimes we delay
in involving them.
Yes. You see, we finish cooking the food. Everything
and
before
then we're in a hurry
come.
To serve.
And when they say no, then you'll be wailing all around. The reality is that let your parents, that's why I said earlier on talked about relationship. You should, if you have good intentions and you have nothing to hide, why do you hide your male friend or your female friend from your parent?
Yes.
You should let them know your friends as early enough so that if there are red lights somewhere, they will pre-inform you before the relationship is seriously cemented so that you will not be disappointed so much. So let us involve them so much. When you have, agreed to move from dating to courtship, let them know before you go ahead and all cement it so well.
And you will definitely get their support.
Exactly, that is it.
Yeah.
And if there are red lights, they will tell you beforehand. Sometimes you are unable to say to hit to their counsel because we have already entangled ourselves, and then we have little to do with what our parents are telling us. So I just want to add that to what Pastor said.
Thank you, Pastor.
Let's do our best.
Thank you, Pastor. Then let me just add some question that has come from one of our viewers. She says, good evening. I am really enjoying the program. Please, will you advise a lady in a relationship with a guy who is always busy to the extent of not checking up on her, the lady, in the process of making a choice for marriage? So this is a life counseling request that has come to you to respond to.
The reality is that at the early stage of every marriage, okay, the romantic love is so high, which will cause every man to suspend everything to check on the woman. So if at this level, the man is unable to do that, it tells you that when he marries you, he will have little time for you, no attention at all.
So, dear viewer, you have heard it, life counseling. You have obtained it. Please, if there are more questions, send them in because we would be wrapping up very soon. And our audience online, thank you very much for staying with us, as well as our audience watching us from their homes. So, Pastor Donko, you're right here with me. What key advice, give us some 3 key advice that you want young people who are contemplating marriages to take home or carry on with their life whilst going through processes of counseling or everything from a perspective.
Number one, I see marriage of more of a spiritual thing than physical. Because marriage is a gift from God.
It is.
You read that from Proverbs, right? So you need to see it from that angle. And if it's God who gives, then of course you must find time to pray and pray and pray again, okay? And allow God to really lead you into this choice. That is number one. Number two, when you will have, you are convinced of an individual that you want to, spend the rest of your life with, don't forget that there are people in your life, okay, and that you cannot do without them. Therefore, at the early stages of that relationship, don't hide it. Let it be known to them, because it is something that you are going someone you are going to live with for the rest of your life.
So don't hide from
family. So don't hide from family. Don't hide from friends.
Let everybody
don't hide from church members, pastors, and leadership, because you don't mean any harm. Okay? you have a positive mind or direction of taking the person home. So why do you hide? These are the very people who will help you in knowing more about the individual. So if you hide that information from them, how will they be of help to you? Therefore, that is the number 2 thing. Don't hide it from any other person. I also want to say that when we even are convinced and then we want to go ahead, parent, everybody have given his or her consent, you go through a period of counseling. The counseling period is not an advice. The counseling is not the preaching. It's not an admonition. It is to go to someone who have much knowledge into where you are going, to enlighten you, expand your horizon in the area of the marriage. Therefore, even as you go through, you can make a decision. You can confirm, okay, affirm the decision or otherwise. So you are not going to counseling for a pastor to pray for you to marry, but you are going to counseling to really, as it were, learn more, to whether decide you are going forward or otherwise. Therefore, we should not finish everything, have our dates set before we want to seek for counseling. It will have been very late. From professional point of view.
Thank you, Pastor.
Right.
And you might not even get a concentration to really get, it's just the excitement part you might be focusing on. That is exactly,
absolutely.
Thank you very much,
absolutely.
Pastor Chumesi, give us 2 strong points, advice for young people who are contemplating marriage as we are wrapping up.
Well, if you allow me, let me address mine to parents.
Okay, please do.
Yes, since Pastor has spoken to our young people, why will my kids not involve me? Why would they not take my counsels? Why would they reject my advice? If I'm experiencing these things, I should look as a parent. What example have I left for them? Do you know that because of our bad examples, our children have vowed not to even listen to us, because growing up in our homes, we failed to convince them that we are the right person that they can talk to. I think if we make things good, we are not the ones who are going to call our children to come and discuss these things with us. Rather, they will come. They will come to us, and they will be willing to listen to us because they have seen us at home. I think, and let me say it again, if you and I will set a good example, back again to Genesis chapter 24, when Abraham made the move for Isaac, Isaac did not resist because he knows and trusts the Father. I believe that my relationship with my wife or my husband today will convince my children to come to me, to listen to me, to involve me. But if my children, all these years, have seen my attitude, the way I've done things, the way I've been very uncooperative with my wife or my husband, I've lost the case. For young people, let us start early and involve God, involve our parents, and involve everyone. And as parents, do not let us wait until they are 20, 25, 30 before we prepare them. No, there is an Akan proverb that says, "Yama abuano enyini ansani afreni kukuya." If we wait, it will be too late. I think this is a two-way street. Our children, our young people have a role to play. And we as parents, we also have a role to play. If we play our roles well, we will welcome a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law into our home. And that will be a great joy. And I think the key is in my hands today before I pass the baton to my son or my daughter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Pastor two questions have come from two different people that we really need to take care of. One says, and it's similar, one says, what about if my parents are not of the same faith, and if the idea of marriage is different from my faith? So this could be a situation where the person might be, to say maybe an Adventist, and the parents are not, and they have opposing views. And then another one says, Lovelyn Kofi on Facebook says, I am listening to your program and I want to know, how do I repair relationship between myself and my parents if they are divorced and they can't stand each other? Toxic parents because they all hate and say anything, they don't have anything good to say about each other. And then also, the father didn't take care of the child and the siblings, so in this case, the mother is the one who is leading more of the conversations about the marriage. So I think you can really, because this is some of the typical situations that in our cultures some people go through.
You see, this case scenario automatically affects the child or the individual. You see them, they are torn between two parents. The parents. They don't know where to go and here. Already it's a challenge at hand. But there is no challenge that is so huge that God is unable to handle. So that if you have parents who do not share the same faith with you, okay, that should not deter you, okay? If they have allowed you and you have found a new faith, so it is they can also allow you to marry someone with a different faith whatsoever. The whole thing is the relationship that you create and maintain with them. When they are not together, like one of them said, you cannot bring the two together to maintain that relationship. The relationship should be individual. Have a good relationship with your mother and equal good relationship with your father. And the same discussion you have with your mother in relation to your relationship, the same must be done to your father as well. So in all cases, you see, you must have reason why they wouldn't want to consent to that. And then you must also have reason why you think that is the best decision for you. When you are convinced that is the person, I have given ways out. If you have done it yourself and you are unable, you have prayed over it and it is still not happening, get people around that they respect so much. And even as they do this, human effort, put in this human effort, you back it up with prayer. And there is nothing too hard for God to do. For me, there is nothing that is impossible. If the person is good for you, God will make a way. If the person is not good for you, maybe God might use your parent to take you out of a serious situation or danger. Yes. But in all cases, if we begin early to maintain good relationship with parents, these things will not happen. So if you are not married and you're listening to me, you have a serious challenge with your parent, begin to repair them now. Okay. Because tomorrow they will hit you hard. Go and repair them and begin to maintain good relationships. After all, God respect that. Give honor to your parent and you will live long.
Amen. Amen. Pastor Chumesi, your final comments for us also. Thank you very much, Pastor. That was powerful.
Thank you so much, Pastor. My final comment. Both a parent and their children have a role to play in making a right choice. While we cannot force or impose our choices on our children, our lifestyle, the way we have lived with them at home will make a big, big difference.
Yes.
If my mother and my father are even divorced, who knows? God can use me as a child, my patience, my way of involving them to teach them something and to bring them together. I strongly believe that as young people, sometimes we are in a hurry But there is an author in Ghana called Ayikwe Ama, and he wrote a book entitled The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. And I think, tell yourself, if my parents are saying no, I must wait, because the beautiful ones, the right one, is not yet in. Once we lay this at the feet of Jesus Christ, as we talk to our parent, God-fearing parent, go for counseling, involve God's people, we will make a decision that we will never regret. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you very much. I believe for all the discussions that we have had today, that is the reason why Ellen White says in Adventist Home that this decision of choosing a life partner is the greatest decision of our lives. And so we should all take it very serious, and we should take counsel as we have been given. This evening we were blessed to have in the studio our very own Pastor Isaac Kwame Donko from Meridian Conference. Pastor, thank you very much for coming to share such insights with us. And on Zoom, we were also joined by Pastor Samson Chumesi from Ohio SDA. And Pastor, thank you very much for making time to connect with us outside of your busy schedule. And our dear viewers at home, thank you very much for making time to join us this evening, and on YouTube and on Facebook. For all those who were able to send in their comments, thank you very much. Nanaya says she's watching. Eric Sowa says he's watching. We can't mention all of you, but please send the link to somebody. If you know someone who needs to hear this message today, do not deprive them the opportunity of getting this insights with you. Until we come your way next week, this is Family Life on Hope Channel. My name is Mrs. Constance Boachi Ejapon, and I was your host this evening, sitting in for Mrs. Betty Adom. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.